Khamzat Chimaev is in big trouble. This isn't just me saying this is quite literally pure facts. Now yes, Khamzat is indeed the most capable man in the middleweight division right now when it comes to dethroning Dricus du Plessis. However, this isn't to say that his win is a full guarantee. As you all know, Khamzat is coming off an impressive first round win against Robert Whittaker in such fashion that was even greater than DDP's win, proving everybody wrong when they said that he's gotten soft and that he's a fraud. Khamzat Chimaev is no fraud, and even though he's proved his strength, he still gets looked over as one of the UFC's most dangerous men, and people refuse to recognize him as championship material. Now the reasons to why he's so overlooked are simple actually, and they come to, first of all, for the fact that Khamzat has such a short gas tank. It's been shown in every of his fights that he doesn't do well when it comes to fighting for a long duration of time. In round 1, he's explosive, doing takedowns and ruthless scrambles, but in round 3, he's looking desperate and tired. Khamzat's gas tank is actually really short, man, and I hope he has improved it, because Dricus du Plessis will be taking full advantage of that. Along with his short gas tank, Khamzat's striking also isn't the best. Now no, I'm not saying that he's a terrible boxer. He's been able to show impressive striking against Gilbert Burns. However, his fight against Kamaru Usman, it saw him getting outstruck. Mind you, this is a Kamaru Usman on 2 weeks notice, and everyone deemed washed. So yeah, and this fight was close and the two were exchanging. However, Khamzat was on the receiving end more than Kamaru Usman. Now Usman is actually an amazing fighter, one of the greatest champions that has ever stepped in the UFC, dominated the welterweight division, and is coming off a great win, showing Joaquin Buckley that there are levels to this game. However, he still indeed, has it in him. But the thing is, in no scenario do I see Kamaru Usman beating Dricus du Plessis. Mind you, this wouldn't even be close. It would be straight domination from Dricus. Usman, as much of a great striker he is, he doesn't fare well with extreme pressure fighters, especially fighters that are as confusing as Dricus du Plessis. DDP has the most unorthodox style in the middleweight division aside from Rainer de Ridder, and it's also been proven with him mauling Israel Adesanya and beating Sean Strickland twice, the second fight being more dominant. This brutality and pressure would work in Dricus' favour against Kamaru Usman, but I fear it would also work on Khamzat Chimaev, who hasn't really faced a lot of pressure fighters in his career in the UFC. Khamzat has fought a lot of great strikers, from Gilbert Burns to Kamaru Usman, and even ragdolled Sean Strickland and Caio Borralho in sparring. I have no doubt that Khamzat has no pressure when it comes to striking, but in a scenario where it's round 2, Khamzat's stamina is faded, then DDP is going to charge in, head down, hands flying, constantly being in Khamzat's face, and there are only 2 scenarios that can happen, and I'll explain both. Either, first of all, Khamzat would go and shoot for a takedown, leading to a strangle from Dricus du Plessis, and I'm not gonna lie, Khamzat has amazing and way better wrestling than Dricus du Plessis, but if he's not as aggressive enough as he usually is, then I'm not gonna lie, Dricus could make an escape. Something about Dricus du Plessis that makes him so dangerous is how well-rounded he is. DDP can box, kick and wrestle, and his stamina, although it's not the best, is better than Khamzat's, and he's often seen lasting 5 rounds and everything. So yeah, no doubt I believe that he's got a better gas tank than Khamzat Chimaev. And I can totally see Khamzat taking Dricus to the floor, but keeping him is a problem. Dricus is a big middleweight and is comfortable being uncomfortable, which doesn't make sense. But but somehow that's his greatest ability, always being able to not care and do whatever seems to not work and make it work. Against Khamzat, he'll definitely try to escape, because as good as a wrestler he is, there's no way he can submit Khamzat Chimaev unless he's being ragdolled and then Herb Dean reveals himself to be another DDP and Chimaev gets put in a rear naked chokehold. But other than that, there's literally just no, I can't even think of that. But yeah. Now, in the second scenario, Khamzat is going to be pressured by Dricus, and then he's going to get into a slugfest, and we've seen Khamzat be pressured before in a slugfest by Kamaru Usman in the final round. However, Khamzat, he isn't afraid, he's not afraid of getting in a slugfest, and I'm not gonna lie, he performs quite well in them. His natural strength itself is his greatest factor due to him having extreme brute strength, and Khamzat's power is devastating, but nobody talks about it. He was able to dismantle Robert Whittaker's jaw just by hitting it with his forearm. Now when it comes to raw power and reach, Khamzat is superior, meaning if they do get into a striking sort of scenario, then yeah, if it ends up as a slugfest, I do think Khamzat can back himself up in this. However, if he goes to the fence and charges at DDP, then in my opinion, DDP, I feel like he would win if Khamzat is backed up towards the cage and everything. I'd also like to bring up a statement by Khabib saying that he'd advise Khamzat to keep his fight standing, and since his boxing seems to work against someone like DDP, and obviously now for me, you guys heard what I said, I don't think his striking is all that, but it certainly does seem like it could work. And obviously, come on now, Khabib has a way better fight analysis than I do, so it's better to take his word for it than mine. So then, Khamzat would mainly have to box against DDP, but how would this work out for him? We know that Khamzat has always been an aggressive grappler, and explosive wrestling is his specialty, and it's what Khamzat is known for. If Khamzat doesn't wrestle and switches it up, which he's less comfortable doing, boxing, then I'm not gonna lie, that means Dricus has already gotten into his head. Now, is it the smart thing to do? Yes, according to Khabib. But does it affect Khamzat? Again, yes. Dricus would have won the mental war against Khamzat because it shows that Khamzat is playing it safe, meaning he's not as confident as he usually is. But it shouldn't matter because it's as demotivating as it is, he's ultimately doing what would be able to give him the win. Let Dricus win the mental warfare and feed his ego just so you can beat him and be more safe, and when the time is right, shoot for an explosive takedown and either ground and pound or go for a submission. In my opinion, I think that's probably the best way it could play out, and I do think that's what Khabib means, and in the end it's going to be a tough fight for either man, and whatever happens, happens. Anyways, that's the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.